Okie dokie. We are throwing large bowls today because somebody asked about how to throw large bowls versus small bowls, all the things. I should tell you at the very beginning that I don't think that I should be the one to teach anybody how to throw anything large. Because I'm extremely strong and I've only ever just muscled my way through this. So, I'm gonna center this and I'll try to explain how I'm centering it, but if you're a small human, I'll try to explain how I was told how to center larger things. This is 3 pounds of clay. I'm first going to come in and I'm going to put all of my strength with my left arm in, and I'm going to kind of like try and center it out just a little bit. And then I come in just like my regular coning technique, and I'm going to come in with this part of my hand, left hand, and then the pinkies and the lower, these 3 fingers, and I'm going to squeeze and kind of bring up my cone. Now if you can't do this, start with like the top part of your cone and center that part and then kind of go down. But so I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna push this way and then squeeze, and as I squeeze I'm gonna let go of that pressure on the bottom a little bit, and then when I come down, when I push the cone down, I'm going to push the clay that way and then push down, and then use my right hand to kind of like guide that down. Okay, we're going to do that again. I'm going to squeeze, and then I'm going to push down until I get a nice, not wiggly ball. And then I always come down because I don't want it to be like up in a cone, so I always kind of take my left hand and push down. I use most of my strength from my left hand because I throw with my right mostly, so we like to even out that pressure. So I'm going to put in my center hole with my thumb and my sponge. I like to throw larger things with a sponge. These bowls should end up being about 9 inches wide, and I want to say they're like 4 inches tall. And I'm going to take out my base, and when I take out my base, I'm not going to do a flat base. I can't even show you shit. Anyway, it looks like this. It's like domed a little bit like the inside of a bowl. So we're going to take that until I don't work on the inside very much. I just open it. And then I'm going to come in with my sponge and press pretty significantly so I can get this kind of like divot. And then get it wet again. And now I'm going to pull up my first pole. Now my first pole is just like a crab pole, but I'm using my sponge to help out. So these 2 hands are actually talking to each other, but the thumb is still like just sitting there and kind of like making sure it goes. Now I'm going to significantly slow down the wheel as I go up, but I'm not going to slow down my hands as much, and I'm going to go out into a Y a little bit. See that? If it gets dry, you stop, get some water on there, but we're pretty good. So I don't want it to be too tall, but I want it to be a medium height, and I'm getting it fairly saturated. My second pole is also going to be with my sponge, and it's going to go out into more of a V, Y, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to kind of get all the clay off of the bottom that I can get with the sponge, and then I'm going to push pretty aggressively with my inside hand as I pull up. And then once I get to the top, I let off a little bit because I want there to be a little bit of a rim. I like rims because they make it a little bit sturdier. And also we're getting bigger, so we want to make sure that we have a little hefty rim so that when we get wider, it's not getting thinner, like so thin that it doesn't work. Now my third pull is actually going to be with my fingers because I want to be able to feel this pull, and I want to make sure that everything on the outside is wet. And on the inside, we're very saturated. And I'm going to come out and I'm going to meet the end of this Y, and I'm not really going to put a curve into it very much, but I do want to go out a little bit wider. And I'm not pulling up a lot, I'm mostly shaping, but like, look at this. This is like a really ugly bowl, right? That's because we don't put the final touches in until the fourth pull. The fourth pull is going to be our shaping pull, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to push in with my hand on my sponge, push into this. Watch this outside curve as it changes. And I'm still going to use some pressure from my outside hand, and notice how slow I'm going. The biggest mistake I see when you're making larger pieces is that your wheel is going way too fast. Okay, and I'm gonna go again, kind of push this down because I want that nice belly curve. And I'm just using my outside hands as a guide. And then I like my rim to go out a little bit. And there we go. For my finishing touch, I'm going to smooth out this rim a bit. I'm going to smooth out the outside. And then I'm going to mark it with my knife so that I have a nice sharp line. And that's it. And then I'll trim it later. So there we go.